still say it were a con.
Say it all.
All right, Clive. Blackthorn told me you helped him out again. Tough for that. Speaking of which, I'm actually a bit,
Worried about him. And you want my advice?
afraid so. It's a bit of a funny one, this, but I saved this posh knob while I was out on a mission, and he gave me this flashy ring to say thank you. So, obviously, I show it to Blackthorn, thinking he'll be impressed, only for him to go white as a sheet and quiet as a curl instead. Try as I might, I can't for the life of me work out what could have got him upset like that. And seeing as how Blackthorn opens up when you're around,
I'd speak to him again. Well, I suppose there's no point leaving him to stew.
Cheers, Clive.
I'll be sure to pay him a visit as soon as I have a moment.
All right, I'll meet you by the forge then. You come...
How do you split the sea?
Covered in...
I suppose you've got quite the tale to tell.
It's a wonder they can still walk.
Come back.
Oh, don't tell me we've run out of Pepsi nuts and all.
Bloody hell, Clive. Not this again. Oh, ain't you got better things to do with your time?
That remains to be seen. August tells me he showed you a ring, and that the sight of it clearly upset you. Would you mind telling us why?
Come on, mate. Bottling it up ain't gonna help no one. If it weren't the ring, and it was something I said, then I'm sorry.
It was the ring, right? It brought back some unhappy memories, that's all. Memories better left forgotten.
Memories of what?
There are things we'd all rather leave behind, Blackthorn. But sometimes it helps to talk about them.
And sometimes it doesn't. Is that so hard to understand?
Don't be like that.
Fine. If it'll get you off my back. That ring you flashed was the work of Zoltan. We apprenticed together, back in the day.
You've never mentioned him before.
Why would I? Ain't seen him in decades, and the last time I did, we almost came to blows. The ring brought it all back. I could tell it was one of his the moment I saw it. Vast has improved, though. More than I thought possible. That thing's a work of art.
So it was a nice ring. Worth a few gil, maybe. What's it matter to you?
It matters because engraving metal's a nightmare, and I've got no bloody idea how he managed it. The fact is, I couldn't make anything even half that detailed.
So what? You're an armorer, not a jeweler.
I'm the Hideaway's master craftsman. I'm not stealing a living at some backwater village forge. My armor keeps you lot safe, and my swords keep you dangerous. As far as I'm concerned, every swing of my hammer's another blow struck in the name of our cause. So I put my heart and soul into my work. Because the curse breakers deserve better than second best. And I refuse to be shown up by the likes of Zoltan.
Very well. Why don't we go and pay him a visit? Learn his secret.
I doubt he'd be too happy to see me.
Then just this once. Make peace with being second best. Swallow your pride, and focus all your energies on the task at hand. Keeping the curse breakers armed and armored. Provided you can do that, you'll hear no complaints from me. But if you can't, and it's going to distract you, we need to do something about it.
What'd you say, Blackthorn? You know he's right. And it's not like you'll be going alone.
All right.
Magic. So, where do you reckon old what's-his-name is then? Zoltan, was it?
In Dravozd, my old village. He won't have left. He's the chief.
Dravozd, eh? That rings a bell. Not far from Tabor, right? just north of the fields of Carava. Got that, Clive? Meet us at Dravost as soon as you can, yeah? And I'll make sure Blackthorn don't get cold feet.
Good luck with that. I'll see you there.
We've run out of happy nuts and all.
Kicked out already?
No. This charmer ain't letting anyone through.
Why are the gates closed?
Chief's orders. No one's allowed in without his say-so. Not that I'd have let you in anyway. You look like trouble. I suggest you go home.
That's what I'm trying to do, you little prick. Ain't changed a bit, have you, Snotty?
No. It isn't. Blackthorn.
Long time no see, eh?
What the hell are you doing here?
Well, it was meant to be a surprise, but since you asked so nicely... I'm here to see Zoltan, you fucking numbskull. Now let us through.
All right. Just... don't go starting anything with the chief.
Yeah, I promise I won't throw the first punch. That good enough for you?
Go on then.
Much obliged.
So this is Dravost. Not much going on, is there?
It's a smithing town. When I was a lad, you'd have to shout to be heard over the sound of hammer on anvil. Clive, you're good with people. You speak to Zoltan.
Hey, you ain't backing out now, are you?
There's a river of bad blood between me and the chief. But if someone can build me a bridge, then I'll cross it.
All right. I'll see what I can do.
I appreciate it. He'll be near the forge on the hill. It was our master's. He'd have inherited it when I left.
Forge on the hill.
Good luck. You'll be needing it.
But if we can't fire the forges, how are we going to earn our keep?
Shut your hole.
Mama, why hasn't Papa come back yet?
He's helping the chief with something very important. Go back inside now.
Should be enough to last us a few moons, at least.
Hotter! Hotter, damn it! Those miserable flames wouldn't melt butter, let alone iron.
Pardon the intrusion. I'm looking for the chief.
That'd be me.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
I'll bet it is. Keep the gates closed, I tell him. Well done, Snotty. You're not welcome here. Get out. Before things turn nasty.
Blackthorn's here.
What did you say?
He's traveled a long way to see you.
Yes, has he?
He's waiting. Down by the gates.
Then I suggest you take him with you when you leave.
Didn't you apprentice together?
So what if we did?
Fuck! We're getting nowhere. These bearers' flames are next to bloody useless.
We're never going to be able to fire up the forges unless we can find some new crystals.
I'm a busy man, as you can see, so do me a favor and piss off. Oh, and if you're struggling to find your way out, ask Blackthorn. That prick knows exactly where the exit is. He's not wanted here. And neither are you.
All right. I'm going.
Please, Chief, you've got to do something. If this keeps up, we'll be ruined.
I thought I'd made myself clear.
It's no use.
Piss
The flames
off.
are hot enough.
I suppose we could try working copper instead.
Mama, why hasn't Papa come back yet?
He's helping the chief with something.
But if we can't fire the forges, how are we going to earn our keep?
Shut.
Let me guess. Zoltan told you to piss off.
As a personal favor to him, yes.
Well, at least he didn't beat about the bush.
There'll be no talking him round. Not after what I did.
Which is what exactly? If we're to help, we need to know. What turned the village against you?
I left. Dravost. Zoltan. The burden of leadership our dying master dropped in our laps. All of it. There are two kinds of smiths in this world, you see. My kind, who are in it for the love of the craft, who labour on a single piece from dawn to dusk to get it just right. And the other kind, who are in it for different reasons. People like Zoltan, whose work is quick and cheap. The kind of smiths who shit out a few hundred blades, reap the profit, and divvy it out among themselves. There wasn't a single day we weren't at each other's throats. And bit by bit, people started taking sides. You would have torn Dravost in half had it gone on. So, I left.
You didn't have to do that.
Zoltan's a better chief than I would have been. His way of doing things kept food on people's tables. Dravost prospered without me and my lofty ideals getting in the road. Until the crystals run out at any rate. Without magic to fire the furnaces, this place is as good as dead.
It depends on how you look at it, though. There's got to be other ways of making fire. We manage it in the Deadlands.
Thanks to Sid's ingenuity, yeah. He saw all of this coming. Knew crystals were the problem, not the solution. And spent years coming up with ways of doing without.
You know what I mean, though, right? Where there's a will, there's a way. What I'm trying to say is that it's not your fault. You couldn't have predicted this.
It doesn't matter whose fault it is. I don't want to be the greatest smith alive just because I happen to be the last. Clive. Dravost won't last long without its furnaces. So, do you think it's time we shared Sid's bellows with the world? The way I see it, it's your decision to make.
Hold on, Blackthorn. Sid made those things for us. They give us an edge over the rest. And you'd be throwing it away.
All right. Do it. This place was your home. I won't abandon it to its fate. Sid's creations were never meant to be hoarded. It was only ever a matter of time before we shared them. Let this be another step on the road to freeing Valisthea from the prison of the Crystal's blessing. Dravost will show the world that it's possible. Wouldn't you agree, August?
When you put it that way, of course. It's like hearing Sid speak from beyond the grave.
Thank you, Clive.
Shall I go and fetch the plans then?
I know I'm off by heart. I'll be needing some help, though. Building a furnace isn't exactly a one-man job. Do us a favour and round up anyone strong enough to lug a brick or two with you, August.
All right then.
And I've got a job for you too, Clive. Finding me some salamander skin. I need leather for the bellows and nothing else will withstand the heat. Luckily for us, salamanders feed out in the fields of Carava.
Time for a spot of hunting, then. Let's go. You deserve a rest.
Fly, Ambrosia.
Let's make this quick, shall we? I dare say that would be enough for a decent set of bellows.
What's this all about, then?
Don't know.
Any trouble finding the skin?
Nothing I couldn't handle.
There should be plenty. Right then, time to put these louds to work. If everyone pulls their weight, we'll be finished in no time.
Well, I'll be damned. I honestly didn't think it'd work. But it's hot enough, all right. And without a single crystal in sight.
You know what this means, don't you?
I do, yeah. Dravost is saved.
Sorry about earlier. I take back everything I said. That thing you built us is an honest-to-God's marvel. You saved our village.
It's Blackthorn you should be thanking. He oversaw the construction.
Give this to him, would you?
What is it?
Pet Cole's cinders. After he left, I spent years trying to eke the most out of our forges. That there was my answer. Chuck it in the fire, and your forge will burn hotter for longer, which will do wonders for your steel. Our secret for yours. Only fair. I've always envied Blackthorn. Since the day I became chief, I spent every spare moment trying to match up to the bastard. No amount of sleepless nights at the anvil will ever bridge that gap, though. He's a genius. Plain and simple. The man Dravost needed. But he took all his talent and left. Gifted and free. Is it any wonder I hate his guts?
The cinders would mean more coming from you.
I need to forgive him first. And that's not gonna happen.
Well, you know what they say. Oriflamme weren't built in a day and all that. These things take time. Especially when they involve two geezers who hold grudges tighter than their hammers. But what matters is, Blackthorn's got that twinkle back in his eye. And I'd call that a job well done.
So would I.
I reckon he's going to be at it a while yet, though, so why don't you head off without us? I'll see that the old git gets home safe and sound.
See that you both do. I'll save the cinders till then.
All right. It'll be a nice little surprise for him.
Gentlemen, I see you both made it home in one piece.
Yeah, well, we didn't want to outstay our welcome. The whole village turned out for a go on the bellows after you left. Everyone except Zoltan has. Didn't see hide nor hair of him.
Oh, but that reminds me. I have something for you.
Pick Cinder. How'd you come by this? And you're sure he wanted me to have it?
I'm sure. He didn't say so, but I think he wants to forgive you.
Huh. Imagine that. Yeah. You know I could never leave this place, don't you? Every time you put on mail, you and the Cursebreakers are trusting me with your lives. There's no greater honor for a smith than that. I'm not about to go crawling back to Zoltan for forgiveness, but I will make good use of his cinder. And if that helps save even a single life, then he'll have my gratitude. What was it you said he called me? Huh? A genius? And he spent sleepless night trying to copy me, did he? Sounds like I better get to work. I've got a reputation to uphold.
It's good to see you back on form, Blackthorn.
I don't know how you pair put up with me sometimes, but I'm grateful all the same. Now, where was I? Oh yeah, about to put Zoltan back in his place.
Ain't got the art to tell him how similar they are. Stubborn bastards.
A little healthy competition should be good for him.
You're not wrong. Still, it's a shame him and Zoltan couldn't let bygones be bygones. No use grumbling about it now, though. Blackthorn's happy. Or as near to happy as he gets. And that's good enough for me.
Trouble with your gear, or... What do you want? That it? Fine.
This... View's awfully thin these days.
What do you expect?
We've run out of
Farmers
happy
are abandoning
around
their
now.
fields and traders their roots.
Come back.
Covered in nicks and lumps, the lot of them. It's a wonder they can still walk.
I'll still say it were a compliment. Ah, Clive. I was wondering when you'd arrive. Please tell me you've come to take our young prodigy here off my hands.
I'm not here for Mid. I need information on Ash.
Then why not ask Molly if you can look in one of her ovens? Go on.
As soon as the Enterprise is ready, we'll be setting out for Drake's Spine. And we're going to need a safe place to land.
Preferably one that won't see my ship blown to shit and splinters.
If it were that easy, do you think Waloed would have resisted invasion for so long? Very little is known of Ash, and the information we do have is spotty and outdated. We have the good King Barnabas to thank for that. Waloed's borders have been closed to outsiders since the day he seized the throne. If there is anywhere safe to land, you won't find it on my map.
Then tell us what we will find. I'm sure you know better than we do.
But no splinters!
All right, if it will get you out of my hair. But interrupt me, and it's over. Understood? Barnabas Tham, the one they call the last king. Understand him, and you will understand the kingdom of Waloed. Barnabas was only a boy when he arrived from beyond the southern seas, and barely a man before he united the ragged tribes of Ash. And having unleashed them upon the formidable Veldemark, he set his throne upon the ancient kingdom's ruins. The victory sent shockwaves around Valisthea, tales of Odin's might spreading through every court, parlor, and drinking hole in the realm. Note that this was in the year 843, and that the king still sits upon his throne some 40 years later, quite untouched by time. Waloed's recent inaction left many wondering if Odin had lost his appetite for war. And yet here we are. The Einherjar was committed to the fray, a bold declaration of intent. Orcs swarm around Drake's Fang, and throngs of Akashic haunt Canvas streets. Though how precisely the havoc they wreak serves Waloed remains unclear. Regardless, if the order to attack truly came from King Barnabas, then one thing is certain. Waloed has achieved the impossible, and made bedfellows of beastmen and the ether-addled alike. All of which is a roundabout way of saying that you will be in unknown territory when you set foot on Ash. Much of the continent has already been lost to the Blight, and what few ports remain will be fiercely guarded. And that is to say naught of its natural defenses. Offshore currents will cast an ill-equipped ship out to sea one moment, and dash it against the rocks the next. But then the Enterprise is anything but ill-equipped, and Mid has made land there before. Now, if only there were someone with an intimate knowledge of the Shadow Coast, and where a daring gentleman might put ashore. You see, Clive, you had the answer all along.
Do you think you can get us back to that beach, Mid?
Picked you up from it, didn't I? Not that it were easy. The currents were a right bastard. But then, if it wasn't hard, it wouldn't be worth doing, would it?
Well said. Thank you, Lady Vivian.
If a few morsels of common knowledge and a sprinkling of tavern talk are worthy of your thanks, I wonder what genuine intelligence might earn me.
Probably more visits. Mid, I need everyone in the ale hall now. I'll fetch Joshua from the shelves.
Aye, aye, Captain.
I have no reason to assume.
Clive, you must listen to this. Lawsman, tell him.
Do you recall when we spoke before on the divinity of Ultima? Well, it inspired me to delve deeper into the subject. And what I discovered appears to agree with the findings of His Grace.
You will recall that my quest to uncover Ultima's origins began with the mural at Phoenix Gate. But while I've always known it to be important, its secrets have heretofore eluded me. Now, however, I believe I know where to find the more complete example, one that will reveal all we seek.
Master Clive, have you ever in your travels chanced to hear of the Circle of Malleus? I would think not, if you have. But there was once a time when the faith flourished, the oldest known religion in the Twins, and though its popularity eventually waned on Storm, hints of its dogma remain embedded in more modern faiths such as the Crystalline Orthodox.
Wait, you said it waned on Storm. What of Ash?
Religious monuments are often torn down or repurposed when new faiths rise to prominence. But if no new faith arose, then perhaps the ancient temples might still stand. And so, you see now why I must accompany you to Waloed.
It would appear the past still has much to teach us, though in this case, it would not have been possible without the musings of Moss. To think that you carried a copy of my old mentor's chronicles all along. I am relieved to discover it in good hands.
I shall guard it with my life.
Joshua, if you're finished here, join me in the ale hall. I need to speak to everyone before we leave.
Right away.
If it please your grace, might I one day borrow the chronicles?
Mid said I could ride the Enterprise next.
Of course.
Well, she didn't. She said I.
My apologies.
By now you've all heard where we're going and why. So I won't bother you with the boring details, only the important ones. If we attempt to approach Stone here by sea, there's a good chance we'll be sighted and fall prey to the capital's artillery. So instead, we'll disembark on the southwest coast and make for Drake's Spine on foot. I say we, but it's highly likely the entirety of Ash is under the rule of Ultima. A large party would only attract unwanted attention, as well as slow our march and require supplies which may be difficult to obtain. Only Joshua and I will be going. And a scout. Preferably a good one. Gav, do you know of any?
You bet your ass I do. Might still borrow some of Lady Vivian's maps, though. Just in case, like.
Once you've dropped us off at the Shadow Coast, you need to retreat into neutral waters, fly merchant colors, and stay inconspicuous. If you sense any danger at all, you leave us behind and return to Storm.
Inconspicuous is my middle name. But like hell am I leaving anyone behind. The ship ain't going nowhere till your scurvy mugs are smiling on deck.
Jill, the Enterprise will appear a tempting target for royalists and pirates alike. You're to stop anyone boarding.
Don't worry. I'll keep the ship and her crew safe. You'll be needing passage home, after all.
But... very well.
If there are no questions, I'll see you all at the docks.
Let me know when you're leaving. I want a word before you go.
Of course.
What do you recommend?
Blasted book. A shirt. This is a... Here, you put me in this situation, Clive. You can bloody well...
Are you sure it's me you're looking for?
I'm all the cook will be needing. Thank you very much. What I want from... You remember Ivan's stew, right? So I thought I'd try making one of these supposed masterpieces myself.
It wasn't as straightforward as you'd hoped?
Yeah, but this is my blimmin' kitchen, and I will not be outdone. So if you don't want to be seen as playing favourites, I suggest you lend me a hand.
I've never been one to play favorites, Molly. So,
A fried mortress of skyworm. That's one heck of a name. Recipe seemed easy enough to an old hand like myself. Only, turns out skyworm livers and drake's mint are not what I thought they were.
Yvonne said the recipes in the culinary pilgrimage date back centuries.
Wow. That's a question for a kindly old fella who haunts the shelf.
Fine. I'll go and speak to Harpocrates. Perhaps he'll know something. And if he does, I'll see if I can...
You do that.
Mid said I could ride the Enterprise next.
Lawsman Harpocrates. I've come to pick your brain if you don't...
Valisthea, a coloured young man, did a wonderful job with the Chance's stew. I do hope we shall be able to sample more such...
That's actually why I'm here. I don't suppose you know where I'm...
So the fabled Sandbrequois delicacy is next on the menu. Delightful. The description... Now, skyworm is a somewhat antiquated name for the wyvern. They're ground-lived
dragon livers.
One would have thought the disciples of Bahamut would have a touch more I believe the specific dragon the recipe demands is the blueback wyvern, said to be the very colour of the sea beside which it resides.
So we know where to look for our liver. But what about the drake's mint?
Saint's bonnet in contemporary parlance, a herb which grows along the North Reach coast. I gather that one can locate the cheerful yellow flowers by their heady scent alone, so I'm sure you'll have no trouble finding them. I may add that people once believed game was best served with the flora that sustained it in life, in which regard fried mortress of skyworm is undoubtedly a typical dish of the time.
Meaning that if I find one, I find the other. To Northreach, then.
Best of luck, Clive. And do save me a bite once the dish is complete.
What can I do for you? You've a keen eye. I do like a customer who knows what he wants.
Before you ask, it's all salted.
I'll wager.
Fresh corn and carrots. Was that shouting I heard from the barracks?
Well, that sellsword the dame's so fond of. There was some fine work you did up in Moore.
I think he was the only one who survived.
The Duke will be here anon.
Come on. Hippocrates said I should be able to find what I'm looking for somewhere nearby. Bright blue dragons and bright yellow flowers. Should be easy enough to spot. Why then? All right. Let's get this over with. That's the wyvern's liver. Now I just need to find the herbs. Bright yellow with a heady scent.
Ready, girl?
You deserve a rest. I think that's everything Molly needs to resurrect her recipe. Better head back.
What do you recommend?
So, did you have that word with Tomes then?
I did, and he was as helpful as ever. He told me exactly where to look, in fact.
And what precisely will I be cooking up? Or is it better not to know?
Blueback wyvern liver. And, a herb known as Saint's Bonnet.
Ah, wyvern livers, was it? Well, at least it weren't actual worms, I suppose. Now then, you stay right where you are. I've got some cooking to do. Let's hope these grand old chefs of yore knew what they were on about. And here we have it. Fried mortress of skyworm. Ivan's offered to make sure it's fit for consumption. Well, I say offered. He as good as begged.
And rightly so. Is there any higher honour than partaking in a slice of culinary history?
So, not fit for consumption then?
What witchery is this? The crackle of the crust gives way to an almost violent richness. Yet it is the piquant kiss of the saint's bonnet that tames this savage dish. It is a tour de force, a force of nature even, a maelstrom of flavour and sensation, a graceful beast emerging from centuries of slumber.
I think he likes it.
Well, I can't quite tell with all that nonsense he's talking, but I reckon you might be right. It was decent then, I take it.
Decent? It's remarkable, and I defy any man to say a word to the contrary. Sid, might I suggest that you command a party of your finest men and women to procure a dozen blueback wyverns forthwith?
I'll give it some thought.
You look like you could do with a drink. Don't be a stranger, Sid.
Oh, don't tell me we've run out of
Aye, it's a dangerous world out there. You'll not find a better price than that. You're rubbing me blind, you know. You'll not find a better price than that. Come again. Oh, don't. I'm not much bothered either way.
What do you expect? Farmers are abandoning their fields and traders their roots. Most of what we have comes from here in the hideaway.